Hey all, what's going on? So in this live session, we're going to talk about autophagy as an antiviral strategy. I want to welcome you back. I was trying to stream this from my computer, but I'm having issues. So we're going to go the old-fashioned way and lock it in on the phone right here. Hopefully the phone doesn't drop because that would not be good. So how's everyone's week going? Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. So here's the title of the paper that we're going to dive into. And let me just do one quick thing because what I need to do is refresh this on my computer because I was supposed to stream it from my computer, but I was having issues. And so we got, let's see, boom. All right, I'm gonna copy this, drop this in the comments here. All right, there we go, there we go. Here we go, guys, here we go, guys. All right, so here we go. What's happening, guys? How's your week going? Any big plans for the weekend? Yo, from Australia, what's going on all? So I know a lot of you, when you watch the replay and you're like, hey, why are you interacting with people that are live? But that's just how it is when we're live here. Zach Baker in the house, what's going on here? So this is the title of the paper that we're gonna talk about today. We're talking all things autophagy. You know, this is an intracellular cleanup process that we've talked a lot about on this channel for many, many months now, almost years. I mean, I think a year and a half. I've been super fascinated personally with the idea of enhancing autophagy naturally. As many of you know, I have this tumor biomarker that's elevated called alpha-fetoprotein. So I have a natural interest, a very personal interest in understanding autophagy, and obviously with this one bug, one drug approach that we're kind of focusing in on when it comes to the virus, I feel like we need to open up our mind and our thought processes to learn a little bit more about other strategies that can enhance health. So that's what we're talking about today. Thank you so much for being here. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button. If you're not yet subscribed, please do so. So let's dive into this paper and just talk about it. This just came across my feed about 2 hours ago. So normally when I make these videos, I like to spend hours studying and knowing every little nuance and so forth. But with this, I'm just going to give you what I've learned in literally the past almost like 90 minutes because I think it's just super fascinating and something we should all be aware of. So these are scientists from Spain, folks here from other parts of the world. I thought there was from someone from Russia. The idea of autophagy as a potential target for COVID-19. So as you know, what we're kind of the conventional medical approach goes something like this. You have one ailment, one bug, you have one drug, okay? So it's like problem, solution, but we know that diseases are multifactorial. There's multiple problems going on. And I've always been kind of interested in the context of this novel human coronavirus in understanding how the comorbidities like hypertension, elevated blood pressure, same as hypertension, heart disease, we know that diabetes, blood sugar issues, obesity, we know that lung issues, liver issues, recent surgery, all these different diseases. I was always curious, you know, okay, is it like, what sort of molecular target is connecting all these different pre-existing conditions that are increasing disease severity, and how can we affect those molecular targets naturally? We talked a lot about immunosenescence and cellular senescence and how advanced cellular age might predispose individuals to developing increased severity for when infected with this disease and this virus. You know, and just as an aside, I have several clients I'm working with right now who have gotten the virus, none of which have been hospitalized. I have several friends who've gotten the virus, none of which have been hospitalized. The only people, one out of the 13 people that I know fairly close, all of these people, only one of which almost had to be hospitalized. And incidentally, this individual didn't exercise, didn't eat that healthy of a diet, right? So we know that there is some element of modifiability with regards to our diet and lifestyle. So here's what these scientists, I'm just going to start reading to you some quotes and we can dive into some things. But like I said, I'm going to do another video on this. I just really wanted to share this with you. Hey there from Montreal. And friends, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button. That just lets me know that I should do more videos, even if it's on my phone like this. How's the sound? How are we doing on the sound? I don't even have any headphones. I was all set up on my computer and the bandwidth is just it's just tanking. So I had to just stream it like this. Okay, here we go. All right. So here's what's interesting. A lot of the autophagy modulators are known to inhibit viral replication when it comes to the coronavirus. Isn't that interesting? Ivermectin. We know that chloroquine affects the autophagy process. We know that rapamycin affects autophagy, and it also affects coronavirus replication. So that was kind of interesting. So this is, again, we're for those of our new friends that are just tuning in to this, paper right here. I'm going to do a whole video and unpack this, but I just wanted to share this with you because it's hot off the press. Maybe I could turn my computer around. Actually, check this out. All right, we're going to improvise on the fly, pals, because as I said, I had an awesome presentation, and the bandwidth here at my house, they're doing some construction. So I normally stream from my computer, and it's like just really, really not so hot. So check it out. If I maximize this, are you able to see that? Let me just see here. You know what? It's not going to even make sense. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is just talk about the known autophagy modulators and share with you the data and the corresponding associations, knowing that things that modulate autophagy also inhibit viral replication. So let me just read to you a quick quote. I think it's really interesting that autophagy not only plays important roles in cellular cleanup processes that we all know, but autophagy is really involved within the immune system. And we know that fasting affects the immune system, it affects stem cells. We know that one of the main autophagy enhancing drugs that's out there, rapamycin and RAPA analogs, we know that they were, they're kind of, the reason why they're in use and prescribed by doctors is not to enhance autophagy necessarily, it's to affect the immune system in the context of a transplant, like if you have a liver transplant, a kidney transplant, something like that. So here we go. Let's go into this. Here we go, guys. All right. It's so bright in this room that I was trying to read to you and I couldn't even see anything through the paper here. So basically what these scientists, the appraisal, the short breakdown of this paper is they're saying that macroautophagy is a pathway that has a promising target to tackle COVID-19, because what viruses do in part of their ability to evade the immune system is they actually inhibit autophagy, at least some of these coronaviruses. And so what they're doing is they're kind of piggybacking on the autophagy machinery in inhibiting that process so that they don't get engulfed by your intracellular cleanup autophagosomes and your lysosomes. So they're inhibiting that. And so it's just, there's all this correlation and crosstalk here. So they go on to say that such an effect of enhancing autophagy might benefit viral replication in several ways by preventing the maturation of endosomal and autophagic vesicles, and thus their potentially excessive degradatory capacity with regard to viral elements at basically all stages of their replication cycle, and providing them with this new machinery for their replication in safe conditions. So essentially, again, what this paper is alluding to, this idea that viruses are hijacking our intracellular processes to increase their viral load, and they're modulating the autophagy process. So these scientists are essentially saying, hey, look, we have all these classes of medicines known to enhance or augment autophagy. And we also know that these classes of medication that are simultaneously autophagy modulators also inhibit viral replication. So they're saying, pointing out this hypothesis, if you will, that perhaps autophagy could be enhancement of autophagy could be a target for affecting and improving, outcomes in the context of the coronavirus. Now, I just want to pause, say, hey, look, guys, you got to work with your doctor. I'm not saying that I have the cure for the coronavirus. I'm not saying autophagy is a cure for the coronavirus, but the idea that we're going to find one drug for this one bug, look, it hasn't happened. And this bug is affecting all of our lives. There's talks of a second lockdown. There's talks that sports may not restart, that schools may not go back into session. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers. So we know that all the diseases that are linked with increased disease severity are also characterized by autophagy dysfunction, right? Obesity, hypertension. We know that autophagy dysregulation is characterized in the vascular architecture in the blood vessels of individuals that have hypertension and atherosclerosis. We know that in fatty liver disease and prediabetes, we know obviously autophagy is, an mTOR is upregulated in those different disease states. So to me, it's like it's a really affordable therapy that's, accessible by anyone, right? I mean, anyone can fast, anyone can exercise. Anyone can do things to enhance autophagy. implement some aspect of time-restricted feeding. So just wanted to come on here and just kind of share that with you. Again, for our new listeners, we're talking about the paper, and I'll update the description of this. I normally do this on my computer, but there were some bandwidth issues. Conical and non-conical autophagy as potential targets for COVID-19. Again, we're talking about this because we don't have any effective treatments right now. This disease is changing the landscape of the world, and we got to think outside the box. And so all the different compounds that affect autophagy, they also, incidentally, various studies have shown that they inhibit coronavirus replication. So look, guys, I don't know if you're going to be exposed to this bug, but it makes sense to implement, to be proactive, to get out there and compress your feeding window, to not constantly eat every 2 to 3 hours and stimulate this mTOR that drives these processes of pro-growth that obviously inhibit autophagy. So, whew, how was that for 10 minutes? I know it was a little rough around the edges because, like I said, I was supposed to do this from my computer. So what do we got? All right, let's get to some questions. By the way, I'm redoing my office here. So I had reclaimed wood on this wall, and I decided to kind of rip out some stuff, and I was out of town, so I haven't done that. All right, let's get to some questions. Carnivore Witch Tracy, I like that name. She says they're having issues with plasma infusion from COVID-19 survivors in the UK. Interesting. Dude Rude, what's up? I don't recognize your name, but thanks for being here. Melbourne is currently in lockdown again. No way, Australia's in lockdown again? Dude, if all these countries have to go on lockdown again, it's really gonna wreck people. It's gonna, I mean, that's unreal. It's totally unreal. Andy Spark, what's up, Andy? I recognize you, my man. All right, so what does Andy say? Andy says, check out episode number 1506 with James Nestor. It was about breathing. Breath work, you know, we've talked about breath work a lot on this platform. I'm a huge fan. I do breath work every morning. I inhale for 5, I hold for 10, I exhale for 10 seconds, I pause for 5 and repeat. That's after a hyperventilation followed by retention technique. Okay, John M says, Mike, what do you feel about N-acetylcysteine supplementation for cleaning up mess in the body and brain? Okay, so NAC is a precursor. All right, it's a way to get cysteine. Cysteine is one of the 3 tripeptides in 3 amino acids involved in making comprising glutathione. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's whatever. Is NAC a game changer? Let me just tell you, look, you guys know that I have a supplement business. I've sold supplements since 2006. It's the only industry that I really know very well. I don't see too many people get game-changing results from N-acetylcysteine. Is it helpful? Yeah, it can be helpful. If I drink more than 1 glass of wine, I'll take S-acetylglutathione, or I'll take NAC, N-acetylcysteine, to enhance the breakdown products of some of the products created from drinking wine. It's not a game changer though, but there is some interesting data showing that individuals that are infected with the coronavirus may have glutathione depletion. So yeah, it might be helpful. Oh my gosh. So folks are saying, if you're watching the replay, that Melbourne is in full lockdown. That is insane to me. Man, that's crazy. Okay, Rebecca says, what about conditions that contradict fasting and autophagy? Okay, what conditions would be a contraindication in the context of autophagy? So, you know, that's a really good question. So certain cancers, for example, certain breast cancers, based upon whether or not it's estrogen receptor positive or negative, there is some contraindications when it comes to enhancing autophagy. So some of the drugs actually that are approved for treating cancer can inhibit autophagy. So autophagy is not this, and I have a full course on this if you're interested. And we dive into all the details about the major tissues where autophagy is increased or decreased in different disease states, namely the liver, namely the muscle, namely the brain and the heart and the immune system. But to make a long story short, you know, I don't know that anyone knows. And we need to understand that autophagy has a lot of different subtypes. We know that retinophagy, we know that lipophagy is involved in, say, breaking down fat. We know that xenophagy is involved in breaking down microbes. So there's a lot of different autophagy subtypes. So I think there's a balance between periodic increases in autophagy and being intentional about refeeding. So we know that chronic overexpression of mTOR is not good, but periodic ebbs and flows in mTOR expression after, say, eating a meal would be healthy. So I think we need to get away from this idea that something is always good or always bad. There's a lot of context that we need to kind of consider, but that's a wonderful question. Thanks for that. My 2 cents says, there always seem to succeed with recovered patients' blood just like they did with Ebola. It should probably be the cure for any disease. Same with fecal implants. Yeah, so I think what you're referring to is a convalescent plasma, and that's actually been shown to be a reasonably effective therapy wherein it's almost like PRP. You know that we've done videos on platelet-rich plasma where essentially you're taking plasma of infected individuals, concentrating down some of their immune factors and re-injecting that into individuals as a way to stimulate their own antibody production. So it's a great idea. So thanks for that, Rebecca. John M. says, what are the best common neuroplasticity, neurogenesis supplements, like how psilocybin and lion's mane, blah, 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 benefit the brain? Okay, so a few things that I would consider. Citicoline. So this is a compound that has been shown to be very effective. It's essentially a sphingolipid. It's involved in phosphatidylcholine metabolism. Citicoline would be helpful. We're actually, our company, Bioscience, is working on coming out with one, and I'm super excited about it. It's a great nootropic. Another one to consider would be magnesium L-threonate. So this is a form of magnesium that's been shown to be better absorbed and cross a blood-brain barrier to get into the brain and affect neurogenesis, affect calcium signaling and all that. What else comes to mind? Nicotine, actually. Nicotine is a nootropic. It's controversial to promote nicotine because it does have addictive properties, but nicotine could be something that could be helpful. I love psilocybin. I haven't microdosed in about 6 months. I was doing it pretty regularly, but that's obviously something to consider. Exercise is a nootropic. Breath work is a nootropic. Learning is a nootropic. So I think it's cool when I was younger, I was all about only supplements and external factors. You know, I would take a lot of fish oil, a lot of curcumin, a lot of resveratrol, I'd eat a lot of blueberries. I was totally convinced that the way to improve your health was from external things. And what I've realized is some of the best ways to improve our health is our thought processes, is our ability to learn, is through novel stimuli. So one of the best ways to improve brain-derived neurotrophic factor is that you could brush your teeth with your left hand instead of your right hand. You could stand on one foot. I'm standing on one foot right now. You could use your non-dominant hand to do other things. You could do exercises that you've never done before. You could do crossword puzzles. There's a lot of things that you can do to improve brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Okay, Carnivore Witch Tracy, I like that, says she's from down under. They're not, okay, properly trained. I can't really read the comment. There's a bunch of them coming in. Dude Rude says, do you ship your supplements here in Australia? Yes, and today only, I saw in the warehouse, we shipped 3 orders to Australia. So we ship to Australia all the time. We've only had one problem with Australia. As much as I love Canada and have a lot of Canadian customers, we generally, I'd say about, I don't know, 20% of the time we have issues with Canada, but Australia has been our most reliable international country. John M. says, hey, thanks so much, Mike. Thank you for that, bud. He says he's open to nicotine and all that sort of stuff. So what else we got here? Luke Gear says, Mike, have you heard about C-Max? I haven't heard about C-Max. Williams says, I take vitamin D supplement in a fish oil. Would you say this helps raise blood levels more than vitamin D alone? Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So vitamin D is fat soluble. Taking it in a fish oil, sure, that's fine. I think that would work. I don't know the brand. It's probably a fish oil liquid, I would suggest. Who does that? Is it Nordic Naturals that does that in a liquid? I'm not really sure. So that's interesting. On our business, we don't do it. We mix vitamin D with K and keep them separate. We have different ideas about fish oil delivery systems. Okay, William says, yeah, Nordic. Yeah, I think they're a decent brand. They're distributed everywhere and stuff like that. Adam says, what kind of vitamin D level should we be aiming for in blood work? Would doctors say what they consider good is not actually good enough? Yeah, so it depends if you're going nanograms per liter or milligrams per ml. But you know, I think the cutoff is the low is like 15, or it used to be. It changes all the time. I like to keep mine at around 50. That's just me personally. I think the high end of the range is, I think, 60. So that's just kind of where I am at. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So that's what I'd suggest. It's totally, your doctors probably won't care if your vitamin D levels get too high, so long as your serum calcium levels don't change. That's what you want to look at, because you don't want to have high calcium and calcium deposition anywhere. That's why I recommend taking your D with your K, and that's what we do in our brand, Myocyte. So Mel Will says, which is more potent, vitamin D supplement or from sunlight? Well, this is a wonderful question. I'm so glad that you asked this question. So sunlight beats everything. Sunlight does so many different things. I mean, when it comes to balancing circadian rhythms, in training your internal circadian clock system, when it comes to just feeling good, being out in the sun feels good. That's what people go on vacation in places where there's beaches and sun, okay? So you can't circumvent the sun. Now, the thing is, a lot of people are scared of the sun. We did a video was it Saturday? Yeah, 4th of July was Saturday. You know, we were on a popular hike. NJ, I filmed it today. I filmed my MyDNA age today. So I'm 37, my body says it's 40, and I explain why that is in that video. So we'll talk about that. But as I was going about the vitamin D, look, a lot of people are scared of the sun. I mean, ask yourself, when you go and spend a few hours in the sun, are you covering up your extremities? Are you putting on a big hat and sunscreen and sunglasses? If that's you, then you need to supplement. I still supplement, and I don't put on sunscreen. I don't cover up, right? So that's just me. Oh, and also it depends where you live. There was a great question here from Weblong Sagan that, you know, we know that people that live in metropolis cities where there's a lot of industrial pollution and you know, poor quality of air and stuff like that, even if they're getting adequate sun exposure, they're not really getting good cutaneous UVB synthesis of vitamin D from the sun. There was one study in the UK, I should make a video on it, that showed that individuals that got the same amount of total time in the sun in a city versus outside of London, they compared two different cohorts. The folks that were in the countryside had significantly higher levels of vitamin D because tall buildings block the sun from hitting you, your skin, and all these different things. So yeah, it's interesting. So guys, since you're all here, we got a new product. It's basically a coffee supplement with grass-fed collagen, with some curcumin, with fenugreek, with horseradish. It's a really, really cool formula that you can really make basically golden milk right at your home. It's called Golden Collagen. Super excited about it. I know that a lot of people go to coffee shops and spend $6, $7 a drink on something that's probably not all that healthy as kind of an outlet, as a release, as something novel. And so I wanted to create something that had health promoting properties, had grass-fed collagen and some anti-inflammatory, you know, kind of immune supportive effects. So that's available on our website, myoscience.com. It makes amazing desserts as well. Ruth from Boulder. I used to live in Boulder. I love Boulder. Where in Boulder do you live, Ruth? My brother's there actually right now. If I could go back in time, I would live off Lee Hill Road. I love Lee Hill Road in that area, up in the mountains, Old Sage Road. William says, as far as I've seen, even you supplement, you get tons of sun and eat a bunch of fish, it's still pretty hard to get too much vitamin D. William, you are right. And that's why I said, you know, the biomarker that you should look at is your serum calcium. So that's, and you could look at your 25 hydroxy vitamin D to your 125 dihydroxy ratio. So there's some interesting correlations and things that can be, some insights that can be garnered from that information. Again, most people are checking your 25 hydroxy vitamin D, but you have the 125 dihydroxy vitamin D that could show whether or not you have some sort of subclinical chronic inflammation going on. Catherine says, could you do your talk on nicotine? I work with the elderly and have found those that smoke seem to be there, keep their mind sharp. yeah, you know what? I'm actively pursuing a lot of research to learn more about the pharmacology of nicotine, but I would love to do that. Oh my gosh, Ruth, it's 101 degrees today in Boulder. That's a lot. Colorado TRO says, I know Lee Hill Drive too. Good choice. Yeah, I do quite like it. Ruth says, how do I start fasting? All right, we have a ton of free videos on this. I would definitely, Ruth, check out the videos that we've done with Dr. Jason Fung. We have 2 great videos, both of which have in excess of 2 million views each. Check those out. My wife and I, Deanna, is a woman. You might like to learn from a woman. We have a lot of fasting specific videos for women, specifically eating 1 or 2 meals a day. We have a great e-course that's $27, the fitness and fasting e-course. Links are going to be on our website, courses.highintensityhealth.com. Yo, Jonathan is here from Tennessee. What's going on, Jonathan from Tennessee? Christian again says, hello from Marica. Thank you. A little city in the southeast corner of Spain. Oh my gosh, Spain is not a place I've been, but I would like to go. Do you recommend jogging in a 2-day fast to enhance autophagy? Yes, always exercise, whether you're fasting, whatever. Okay, this is the one qualm that I have against fasting is it sometimes can reduce your recreational activity. And exercise trumps all, friends. Not only for weight loss, just for enhancing autophagy, for doing all these things. So you got to enhance, you gotta stay exercising. Sam, thank you for that. I'm glad you guys are here and enjoying this. A Radical Geek says, I started fasting by eating keto carnivore, and then after OMAD, I stopped eating 4 days at a time. I hope that's a good thing for you. Good for you, bud. What else do we got? All right, here we go. Whoa, they're coming in. Mel says, can you achieve autophagy by doing intermittent fasting 16-8? Yeah, we did a video last year at this exact time. There was a study at University of Alabama. Or was it Louisiana? I can't remember. It was either Louisiana or Alabama that showed that good old-fashioned time-restricted feeding, 16-8, eating between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. enhance autophagy, decrease mTOR. So yeah, it's totally possible, y'all. Oh, Nathan says, I'm the most trusted health YouTuber. Thanks, man. I try to be real, try to be as real as I can be, you know. It gets me in trouble when I talk about the virus because I don't believe in what the media is telling you, and I'm not totally convinced that everything that's being said by our government is legit, and that gets me in trouble. But yeah, I try to be real. Radical Geek says, yeah, it's definitely a good thing for me. I've lost 110 pounds. Holy shit, man, that's amazing. Good for you. That's so fantastic. Ben says, I'm currently on Meloxicam for a disc issue. Any recommendation on natural treatment to aid healing and restrict damage to the gut flora? Yes, Saccharomyces boulardii probiotic yeast is going to be your friend. Also, I mean, we make probiotics over on our website, myoscience.com, strain specific, delivered in a nitrogen purge blister pack, and some really good evidence there. But you take the probiotics 4 hours away from any antimicrobial compound. So really good idea to take and support your micro. And in fact, studies show that, these are studies from Europe, show that when you take a probiotic with an antibiotic, you help to reduce the propensity to develop antibiotic resistant bacteria, which is key. So yeah, definitely do that. Yvette says, I know you'll probably address this in a different video I missed, but does coffee with heavy cream and no sweetener stop autophagy? So look, yes, we have talked about that, but it's a great question. So look, friends, when you're fasting, you're stopping autophagy at the same time. You're like, well, wait, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, autophagy is this it's ebbing and flowing all the time. So check it out. Okay, autophagy is breaking down intracellular garbage to recycle damaged organelles and damaged tissue inside your cells to recycle compounds. Now, and basically we know that the inhibitors of autophagy are amino acids that will activate mTOR, okay? So when you're breaking down aggregated proteins within your cells and you have enough amino acids from breaking down that intracellular garbage, guess what? That's going to transiently inhibit autophagy. So there's this what's called negative feedback inhibition. So this is going on. This is stopping and starting, stopping and starting. So the idea that a little cream in your coffee is going to like blow the whole thing. It's not true. We know that even intermittent fasting enhances autophagy. So look, I like to tell people, create habits that are sustainable. If having a little cream in your coffee is going to help you fast for 12, 14, 16 hours a day, you got the green lights from me. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have been dogmatic and said, you have to do it like this. But it's like, look, if you can do something that's sustainable, if having a half a glass of red wine at night helps you not crush Ben and Jerry's, then have some wine. Like, just do what works for you. Like, do the habits and the things that make whatever lifestyle choices you're making more sustainable. So, you got it, Ben. Thanks for that. John says, is 16-8 unrealistic for people eating high carb? I don't think so at all. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think it's totally fine. And you know what? I think if you're going to be high carb, then you definitely need to do some sort of intermittent fasting to mitigate some of that. And we have a new podcast coming with Ben Bickman all about that. Nathan says, I'm doing a combo of the Nourishing Traditions keto and IF diet and exercise. Amazing. But still drinking almost every day. How much damage is that causing? Well, Nathan, this is where your total toxic burden comes into the picture. You know, what else is your liver having to process? What other crap is in your environment, in your air, in your food system? What other hormones, endocrine disrupting chemicals? You know, so my grandmother drank the equivalent of like 6 or 7 drinks her entire adult life. She lived to be 77 years old. My grandfather lived to be, on my mother's side, same thing, alcoholic for many, many years. You know, he had macular degeneration at the end, but he lived to be in his late 80s, right? So everyone's different. Now, I've heard, you know, my wife's father died in his 60s from alcoholism. So everyone is so unique. Now, I think the bigger question for you, Nathan, is why are you drinking every day? Why are you drinking every day? I like to drink too. I started drinking when I was 10 years old. It's embarrassing to admit, but I had an older sibling that exposed me to drugs and alcohol when I was 9 years old. So I get it. I have a natural tendency to drink, but I don't anymore. In fact, on the weekends, I'll have a glass or 2 of wine. I might have a kombucha beer, but I realize that drinking alcohol doesn't put me closer to being the person that I want to be and helping the people that I want to help and you know, researching and memorizing stuff and living a good full life. So I don't drink that often. So I just think it comes down to your mindset and, you know, like, look, why are you drinking every day? Is it because you're with your friends? Why don't you take a night off and just see how you feel and take it from there? So it's an interesting thing to think about. A little bit of alcohol, I don't think it's a big deal. John says, plain vodka seems to take a much lighter toll on me than other alcohol. Yeah, I'm with you, man. As much as I love my kombucha beer, I get a massive headache. I don't even know why I still drink it, but I like it. Really good questions, friends. So pals, I'm sorry that we couldn't do this on the computer. I had a great presentation lined up. That just means I'll have to make another video that will be much more succinct than this 33-minute kind of hodgepodge of topics. But I'm grateful that you're all here. If you like these random informal lives, if they're helpful, please hit that like button. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting after the fact. And thanks for just being part of this community. I learn as much from you as you hopefully learn from me in these videos. So I'm just grateful that you're a part of this ride. I'll get this one question here from Jacob. Jacob, what's happening, man? Jacob says, what's your opinion on substitute sugars? Should I stay away from them? Okay, sucralose, stay away from that garbage. A little bit of allulose, a little bit of stevia, a little bit of Lohan monk fruit. I'm okay with that, but don't overdo it. Okay, just don't overdo it, because the idea that we can circumvent all these sensations and have no downstream consequences, I think, is just faulty thinking. So yeah. All right, all. Hope you have an awesome weekend. We'll be doing more videos this weekend. JC, thanks for being here. Rachel, thanks for being here. And yeah, we'll catch you all soon. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your day.